Well, hey folks, welcome to Solar Cabin Channel. Boy howdy, has it been a hot July, hasn't it? Not just here at the cabin, clear across the entire western United States, southern United States, and the East Coast has been extremely hot and has caused a lot of problems. A lot of people get sick in the heat and don't have proper air conditioning. It also drives up the energy use. When we get a lot more energy use, then we get blackouts or brownouts. And if you don't have power, what are you going to do to run your air conditioners? So, you know, it's been a concern here of mine here at the cabin. I put up a few videos in the last week or so talking about the system that I use here at my cabin. I can use an evaporative cooler, also called a swamp cooler, because we have low humidity in this area. But because we had really high temperatures and we had a lot of cloud cover, because I had clouds sitting over me, my solar panels weren't producing as much as I needed in order to run that swamp cooler, even though it only uses 65 watts. So I ended up pulling out some extra panels, which I keep in storage just for this use, putting up my extra panels and using that to keep my batteries charged up so I could run my swamp cooler, because I had to run it from 8 o'clock in the morning till about 2 or 3 o'clock at night just to keep the cabin cool enough so that I would be comfortable. But it worked out just fine, and I was able to cover everything like that. But, you know, it's a real concern, and, you know, these high temperatures are starting to come earlier in the year. Normally this would be something we may see for a few days in August. Or end of July, and here it is, you know, middle of July, we're now starting to get these higher temperatures. Some of that is a result of just, you know, the El Nino that's in effect, but also we have a heat dome that is just sitting over these areas and holding in the heat, which is making it just really miserable for a lot of people. So, you know, here I'm lucky enough to be able to use a swamp cooler, but if you are in an area where you need an air conditioning unit or refrigerant air conditioning unit, and you're using solar, you may want to consider that you may have to put up some additional panels and, you know, boost up your solar power system so that you have enough power to cover you, especially if you're grid tied. You may want to consider that you have a system with some batteries enough that it will run an air conditioner in the event the grid goes down and your grid system doesn't work if you don't have batteries. All right, that's enough on that. The other thing I wanted to talk about is my tomatoes. I have two big planters here, and I've discussed these before. These were actually given to me by my mother. They were planters that were at her house, and when she passed away, she left these to me, which I really appreciate. Every year I always plant these with two big tomato plants. And my tomato plants, like this plant here, this thing has like 17 tomatoes on just one plant. This one has about 10 on it, so they're both really producing really well. But I noticed, and I took one of my tomatoes off. You can see it's starting to turn red right now. The others are just now, they're not ready yet to ripen up. I pulled this one off and I'll let it ripen in the house. But I wanted to show you it's got a crack in it. Okay, and that indicates that this one probably ripened a little bit too fast, but it also, when you get cracks in your tomatoes, that can indicate that they're not getting watering at a regular interval. So if you give them too much water and then you cut back on water and you're not watering them at a regular time, in a regular interval, and a regular amount, then you're more likely to get splits in your tomatoes like this. Now, a tomato like this you would never see at the grocery store, because they would look at that crack and say, nah, it's no good for selling as a tomato. They would use it maybe for tomato sauce, tomato paste, or something like that instead. But this is perfectly good to eat. Just because you have cracks in your tomatoes, don't throw them out. Use them. They're still perfectly good to eat. You may have to cut around the crack in them or something like that. But you can take your tomatoes off the vine a little early when they start looking like this and turning red. Before they're completely red, you can actually take them off the vine and just set them in a cool, dry place somewhere in your house or on a windowsill. Some people put them in paper bags because that holds the carbon dioxide in, and so they will ripen even faster. And that's what I do, is I just stick 3 or 4 of them in a paper bag and let them ripen that way. They'll ripen a little bit faster off the vine than they will on the vine. It also takes some of the pressure off the tomato plants that are still trying to ripen up these other tomatoes. So, you know, you're reducing the amount of energy the plant needs to ripen the tomatoes. So anyway, that's what I've got. And I've also got, I'll show you here. And also, instead of planting a big salad garden this year, because I knew it was going to get really hot, and that can be really hard on plants to keep them watered. What I did is I planted some of my plastic pots here with my salad garden. I've got several of these, and this is a mix of different types of lettuce. what they call broadleaf lettuce. It's not the tight, compact lettuce that you get in the grocery store. This is broadleaf lettuce, and it's actually several different varieties of lettuce that's in this pot. And what you do is you just take your scissors, and when it gets up high like this, you just trim this off, take this in, rinse it off good under some cold water, and then you've got a salad, and it will keep producing clear through the season. So that's really good. So my salad lettuce is just about ready for eating, and my tomato is just about ready for eating. So I'm pretty close to having a nice salad here at my place. With hardly any work at all. Just plant these and keep them watered. Water your pots. But in this hot heat, you got to keep in mind that they're going to probably need more watering than normal. All right, folks, I hope if you're gardening, your gardens are doing really well. And have a great summer. Remember to stay hydrated, drink lots of water. I would suggest people avoid drinking a lot of soft drinks because soft drinks and that sugary stuff, that's not good for your health. Drink some water and lots of it in the heat like this so that you don't end up with heat exhaustion or heat stroke, which can really cause a lot of problems and even cause death. And so, make sure you're staying hydrated and staying in the cool. No more than 15-20 minutes in this high heat can cause serious health issues. All right, folks, have a great day. Stay cool.